everyone. Welcome back to Shoot from the Hoop, where we discuss all things FTASC and sporting clays. I've got a phenomenal guest today, originally from Ohio, now living, I guess, half the year or so in Vero Beach. Welcome to Shoot from the Hoop, Todd Kemmerer.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on. I'm honored.
So glad we could make the time. And Todd, we got lots of things to talk about. I want to talk about your shooting. You're going to represent the United States in the World Sporting in San Antonio, and you're also going to represent the United States in Portugal for FTASC this summer, so we'll touch on that. But I also want to talk about how you've given back so much to the sporting clays community. In fact, it's how you and I originally met at the Wounded Warriors
Absolutely
Center. And then Kids in Clays is just a passion of yours. I want to talk about that. And then we can talk about other things you've done in sporting clays. But let's kick it off with talking about coming up in April, World Championships for sporting in San Antonio. I'm going there. I'll see you there for sure. And then again this summer, what's it like to wear Team USA vests?
Wow, it's one of the proudest moments, right? Well, at least it should be. It is for me. I can tell you that. It's one of those things that I'm frankly still have to pinch myself that I'm one of those guys, people on the team. I'm honored to have made both teams, and it's not easy to do. It takes quite a commitment to go all of the regionals, attend the nationals, and place high enough to make one of those top four positions. And I'm really excited to be participating in mid-April down in San Antonio. And then right after Northbrook's regional shoot, I'm going to jump on a plane and fly across the pond to Portugal, land in Lisbon, and be shooting in 2 more days from there. So I land there, I think I leave on July 13th, land on the 14th, and we start shooting on the 16th. So my preparation for San Antonio has already begun in terms of my practice regime, and I'm excited to get better and challenge people from around the world.
You know, I'm shooting FTASC and Super Sporting at Northbrook, and then I'm also jumping a plane on the 13th to go to Portugal.
That's fantastic. It should be a good trip. I've been to Portugal just once, but just to play golf. So I think this will be a whole new experience for me.
You know, I have a question for you, Todd. This is your 7th and 8th teams that you've made?
Yes. Yeah.
So at what point in your shooting career did you say to yourself, you lived in Ohio, you were very active in sporting clays. At what point did you say to yourself, I'm going to start traveling around the country and shooting these regionals and click on the website and see how I compete to become a member of the U.S. team? When did that all happen?
Yeah, I remember when it happened. It was a shoot in Prague, and I was in the Czech Republic, and I kind of got invited in to go over and shoot with the team because at that point they were trying to have one other American, shoot with somebody who was on the team. And that year I shot with Larry Farrow, who was on the veteran team in Prague. And sitting in the airport on the way back, Wendell Cherry, Curtis Maudlin, and Will Fennell sat me down and said, man, you shot pretty well. And Wendell said, Todd, if you were to be able to put some serious practice in, I could teach you enough that you're a good enough shot that I think you could make this team. He said, but you'd have to put the work in. So long and short of it, as I started practicing with Wendell, and then he really taught me how to practice and become more of an expert in the shooting sport. And a year later, I got a letter in the mail from the NSCA that I had made the sporting and the FTASC team. And guess who called me? Wendell Cherry.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, that's cool.
And Wendell said, here's the crazy thing, right? Todd, I've been on the team as team captain for 10 years. And he said, the gold medal is only won the entire time I've been on the team between us and England. United States and England are going to win the gold medal. He said, here's the question to you. If you don't think you're one of the best in the world, I need you to decline from being on the team.
Oh, hey.
I said, Wendell, you helped get me here. He said, I know. He said, but I don't think you believe you're one of the best shots in the world. And he said, unless you do. And if you don't, I need you to step off. So it was because, Jeff, I've never been one to inhale too much of my own exhaust, right? And I said, Wendell, I got to think about it.
Oh,
I got to think about it because that's not really how I've ever really seen myself. He goes, I know. He said, but I'm just going to tell you, gold medal will be won between England and the United States. Now that's changed a little bit recently with the France and some of the Italy teams and others. But back then, when I was made my first team, which was 10 or 12 years ago, that was a phone call I had with Wendell, and that's how I got on my first team.
but that's incredible. Kurt Hallbachen has a similar story. He was working with Henry Hopkin, and Henry asked him if he could envision himself on the podium. And when Kurt hesitated, Henry said, well, that answers my question. Because if you can't see yourself there, it's hard to ever attain it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I called Wendell back and said, I worked for it. I put all the work in, and I trust what you've taught me, and I think I'm one of the best in the world. So, however, we went on and won silver medal. England beat us that year.
So which,
it was quick. It was close though. We only lost by 4 or 5 targets, which over 4 days, 3 guys shooting, that's not much. That's skin tight.
I went to like 10 world championships in a row between Northbrook in 2012 and maybe Hungary in 2021. What year was that, the year after Cyprus? And where'd you guys go? Do you remember?
14 and 15 would have been the years.
Oh, so 14 was Portugal, right?
Yeah. No, not 14 was, let's see, I'm getting them. Hungary was 1 year and then the next year I think was South Florida Gun Club.
Oh, you're talking about for sporting. Yes. Okay.
Yes. For sporting. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
No, actually Hungary, I think was FITASC.
It was.
And sporting was at the 1 year was at Churchill Shooting Grounds.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. Oh, that's so fantastic, Todd.
Yeah, it's a funny story, right?
It's a great story. So let me ask you this question: what's the difference between making the sporting team and making the FITASC team?
Well, I think you have to have good moves in both. Right. So when I'm practicing sporting, I only practice sporting that day. And when I'm practicing FITASC, I only practice my FITASC that day. I'm actually going to turn off the sporting game right after the April shoot and go to my FITASC move. Obviously, it's low gun. But I like shooting low gun. I even shoot a low gun in sporting quite a bit. So it's an easy transition for me, and I'm looking to I think my sporting game's a little more solid from my move standpoint. So I'm going to have a lesson from Wendell right after the April shoot to kind of switch over to the FITASC move.
Now, Todd, you're spending a lot of time down in Vero. We were together during the Florida Swing. You and I were shooting right next to each other at Jack Links.
Right.
You moved down you've got a place in Vero. Where do you train at the most?
Well, I moved to Vero Beach because there's so much shooting available. I mean, there aren't many places like this in the United States, that has this kind of quality gun clubs. And less than an hour away. So, South Florida Gun Club is probably at the top because they have 5 courses. 2 of them are always pretty difficult. They have trap, double trap, skeet, heelless. They have easy courses, which you don't want to forget, the easy targets. Yeah. But that's probably my number 1 course. Quail Creek I like a lot. Vero Beach is the closest to my house. which has really become a tremendous facility since Murray Gerber has taken that over.
Sure.
But if you know anybody at Pine Creek, I've shoot at Pine Creek, Sebastian Gun Club, OK Corral. I mean, the list goes on and on down here, where there's, frankly, if you wanted to count them all within an hour, there's about 7 or 8 options close by. And gosh, I don't know another place in the country that
When I
has
used to
that
live in
kind
Palm
of.
City, I realized how spoiled we were. Now I live in Arizona. We've got great shooting, but there's something about that little area around Vero and Palm City, Stewart area that's unbelievable.
Yeah, you know it because you've lived here. But with that comes gun manufacturers, gunsmiths, stock makers, So if you got something that goes wrong or want something a little different, that cottage industry has really fostered around, this Florida district. And you just go to the other coast, and of course you got coal with, Beretta and Prazi and all kinds of things.
Absolutely. It's interesting, Todd. The other day, I got an email that they were already opening up next year's Vero Beach shoot for the Caribbean Cup. So, we're always scheduling out there. Your schedule is probably similar to mine. It's full of shooting events.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, in these larger shoots, you better schedule early or you're not going to get your times.
Right. Especially VTAS.
Yeah, especially VTAS. And the other one that is becoming more and more popular is super sporting.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that has really picked up too the last 4 or 5 years in terms of having to get in earlier. You're on a wait list. So
it's interesting when I'm short on time, I'll fly somewhere. I'll shoot sporting clays the next day, at VTASC the next day, and then fly home. I like the sporting clays VTASC combination.
Yeah, me too. I normally shoot the both. I gave up sub gauges years ago. I think as you age, you really only have so much mental energy, and I think I saw my scores go up a little bit by giving up sub gauge, just devoting it to a 12 gauge game.
Very interesting.
And I'm normally a 5-stand guy, main event sporting, fit task. And then I may leave it at there, but if I get an extra day, maybe I shoot a prelim, maybe a no.
I love it. That's great. Well, Todd, we'll be, I'm sure I'll be seeing you both in Texas in April and Portugal in July. I look forward to it.
And Tucson in March.
Yeah, coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah, you'll be here. Fantastic.
Good. Yeah,
I've got one of those little mini homes on site there. So come on over. We'll say hi.
Oh, good. I'll be over for a cheeseburger and beer.
100%. Todd, let's shift gears a little bit. You've been a tremendous advocate for sporting clays as a sport. You were from Ohio. You've been the president of the Ohio Sporting Clays Association. You're in the Ohio Hall of Fame. And then you're also very active, and I want to talk about all of this in Clays for Kids and Wounded Warrior. Let's go back to the beginning when you were in Ohio. How'd you get tied into the government or?
Well, yeah, we had an association that was, I would say, weak, and the Ohio shooters were going to Michigan, Detroit Gun Club to shoot. We were headed down to Elk Creek in Kentucky to shoot registered birds. There weren't that many registered targets being thrown in Ohio. Secondly, we had an Ohio shoot at W&R Hunt Club. Nice people, but our board, again, wasn't really active. And they had a 200 bird event, and they had, out of that 200 bird event, 97 true pairs for the weekend.
That'll move you through. That'll move you through.
One station was a report pair or something like that. It was crazy, Jeff. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. And I kind of got on the existing president, which name will remain confidential at this point. And I said, didn't you guys vet this? I mean, this club needs help. They've never thrown a big tournament like that. But saying that, we had less than 100 people.
Fair enough.
So he said, Todd, if you think you could do better, he says, I'll give you keys to the car so you can take over. And I said, okay. With one condition. I said, I'd like everybody on the board to step off. I'll bring my own team in. So literally, we reorganized the Ohio Championship. Uh, we created a website, created a new logo, we created shoot standards, rules and regulations, um, a trophy package, all of which stands today. And I'm so proud to see the Ohio Championship turn into the second or third largest Ohio Championship in the country now, behind Texas and Georgia. We're pretty, Georgia's just got us by a little bit, but that was not the case a long time ago. And now, today, those people from Michigan and Indiana and Kentucky and Pennsylvania are coming to Ohio to shoot. And it makes me so proud to see the strength of our clubs have grown. The Sporting Clays and Fitask in Ohio has grown. And we have a lot of people. We turned it into a 2-year rotation as an example. So the club could invest, knowing they're going to get it for 2 years, they could invest in stands or whatever they wanted to and know that they have a 2-year payback on it. Just some, I think, kind of obvious business things like that. And really, it became where the board ran the shoot and the club helped us. Whereas most of these state organizations, the club ran the shoot and the board helped out a little bit. So we just flipped that.
Well, I like that. And, last year alone, Cardinal Center had a regional.
Yeah.
And the week before that, we were at Eagles Nest, and I liked it so much, I went back like a month later and shot at Eagles Nest again. I mean, phenomenal clubs.
Yeah. Eagles Nest had a Grand Prix last year. Cardinal had a regional. And we also have the SCTP at Cardinal every year, which I think is the largest junior shoot in the world.
Yeah, I never saw so many people around our hotel, and they weren't even shooting in the regional. They were doing SCTP, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. How many, I think they throw about 1.5 million to 2 million targets that particular 10-day period. And it's all kids. You go as an adult, and other than a couple of events on the last weekend, you can't shoot. It's all kids. And it's pistol, and it's rifle, and it's archery, and it's shotguns.
I love it. Well,
it's a unique facility.
That's the future of our sport right there, Todd.
It sure is. It sure is.
Hey, let's talk about the first time you and I met. It was probably, not quite 10 years ago. You were helping out at Cardinal Center with a Wounded Warrior event. Gosh, we had fun and
yeah,
incredible.
The Wounded Warrior shoot was just kind of getting going then, around the country. And we actually shot in a squad with a Wounded Warrior. I think our particular squad had a guy in it that just had some issues after the war. And boy, did he enjoy it. My gosh, he goes from, being a little timid and not really wanting to handle the gun to high-fiving and backslapping. And really, this guy came around in 100 clays like you couldn't believe. And he was a different guy at the end. So that's really heartwarming to see that happen and to celebrate the active duty that these guys have paid the price for us. So, Jeff, we all have journeys in life. And it's interesting because I see you and how you're giving back and my own journey and how it connects us in some of our passions of things we love to do. And I think that's one of the most rewarding things is, being active in the Ohio Sporting Clay Association, this Wounded Warriors. We're going to talk about Kids in Clays in just a moment. That helps create a legacy in helping other people and other families and also expose them to the shooting world and let them know that there's ways to have a lot of fun and be safe handling a firearm and respect it versus some of the things we see on the 7 o'clock news, with the negative press.
Well said. What's interesting about that, Todd, is that Wounded Warrior shoot had the same effect on me. We had We had a gentleman and he had PTSD and to your point, one thing to hold a gun on station one, but by the time we were done, he was proficient and confident and feeling good about himself. I thought it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to see that could actually happen. I'm always a little surprised myself. It happens that fast.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a little confidence and competence go hand in hand, you know.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
what
shift
I've been
gears.
involved in recently is Kids and Clays.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just recent past Pat president. I handed over the presidency to a vice president within federal ammunition, Jason Nash, who's now president. But I'm recent past president. I've been involved on that board for over a dozen years. And it was founded in 1999 by Glenn and Kathy Lebesnick. They raised like $15,000 their first year in the Chicago shoot. The Columbus, Ohio shoot was one of their fourth or fifth ones, which raises over $250,000 net now for our Columbus, Ohio Ronald McDonald house. And Kids and Clays serves Ronald McDonald houses, helping them have events, shooting events, primarily sporting clays, for raising funds for their houses. And if you don't know anything about a Ronald McDonald house, it's basically very closely tied to a children's hospital, and families can stay there for free if you can't afford to stay. And this gives a place for mom and dad and maybe an older sibling to stay. I've seen people, families in Ronald McDonald houses for up to 9 months while the little one may be healing. And what happens with these Ronald McDonald houses is there are certain specialties. So in the Columbus, Ohio house, we had a certain specialty for their child. The best in the world were there. This family had been in the house for 9 months. And I happened to be there the day they were leaving. It had been so long that the older sibling had enrolled in school. The school bus was picking them up at the house every morning during school.
I love it.
So these Ronald McDonald houses are fantastic charities. And frankly, we have given so much to the shooting sport that it's a way for us to give back in a charitable way to promote shooting sports, because we're going to have 47 events this year. We'll raise $5.2 million for the houses. We're typically the largest outdoor fundraiser outside of the golf outing in a lot of these houses. And about 40% of our shooters are first time or just second time shooters.
I did not know that.
So it's a tremendous amount of new people being introduced every year to sporting clays and the safe handling of firearms and shooting. And just like that Wounded Warrior talked about, we have a lady who works for a corporation, and she wants to hold the gun away from her. She doesn't know how to hold it. You know, we have someone along in every squad to help teach her how to shoot safely, keep everybody safe, and to make sure they have fun. And those are the three things we've really kind of identified. To do those three things well, and the shoot will grow. So we, I think, are the largest shooting fundraiser in the country, Kids and Clays.
I think you're right. And you know what's funny? It's a small world. Our institutional advancement leader here at the college, the university that I'm at, Midwestern, just took a position with the Ronald McDonald House Charities here in Phoenix. And I was telling her that you and I were going to be talking to her. So maybe we'll pull one off here in Phoenix if there isn't one.
Well, we'll help you do it. The Kids and Clays group helps them put on the events. We give them guns for their donation or live auction. We give them silent auction items. So it's a whole loaner guns, walkie-talkies for communication on the courses, banners. I mean, we send our people there, certainly the first few years, to help them make sure it's successful. So between us and the clubs, we can really start off on the ground running with these houses, even though it may be their first or second year. And in turning their board and their administrative people within a house who's never had one, they kind of are a little hesitant. And after the first year or two, they see what happens and they really embrace the shooting industry, which is, I think, one of the reasons that the industry itself has been so supportive of kids in clays.
Todd, thank you for giving back like you do on behalf of all of the shooters and all the kids and all the wounded warriors. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a nice thing.
Absolutely. So let me shift gears a little bit again. And when I first started shooting sporting clays, it was like 2008, and I went to nationals, and I think there were 800 people. And this coming year, I saw that there's almost 2,500 signed up. The growth in sporting clays has been immense. What do you attribute that to?
Well, it hasn't gotten any cheaper, that's for sure. So,
That's right.
that's no wind behind our back. But I do feel like sporting clays offers an element of change versus trap or skeet. People enjoy shooting different stations and having a variety of targets to learn. And I feel in looking at all the families that the Cardinal SCTP shoot, that a lot of families have really gotten involved in sporting clays. And then I see in my tenure in shooting, many, many more colleges now have teams versus when I started, hell, nobody had teams. So the growth of sporting clays, I think, is leading the charge for these larger entries into these larger shoots. And I also feel like us having these regionals has also helped kind of give us a program of things to try to walk our way up the ladder if you're trying to make a team, or whether it's a sporting or FITAS teams or making the All-American team. These All-Americans are shoots, these regional shoots are something you need to participate in. So I think there are several factors, but those are a few.
Oh, I agree with you. I was remiss, Todd. I was going to start this interview with OH.
IO. Yeah, I'm a Buckeye. You can't live in Columbus, Ohio without being a Buckeye. So for those of you that may be fans elsewhere, I'm a big college football fan. But if you live in Columbus, Ohio, you got to love the Buckeyes.
Absolutely. And Columbus is a great, great city. Well, Todd, I want to thank you for carving out some time and joining me on Shoot from the Hoop. Thank you so much.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for the opportunity. It's really been a joy. And I bless everything you're doing. And thank you for having me on. I much appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks in Tucson.
I'll buy you a beer down there. All right.
Sounds great. Well, to all of our listeners, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating or perhaps leave a comment or two. And if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. I'll try my best to bring leaders in sporting clays and FITAS like Todd Kemmerer. Thanks again for joining me today, Todd.
Thank you, Jeff.
Bye-bye now.
Good night.
Cheers.